Be able to tell by restream. Looks like it's working. Alrighty. I'm gonna get rolling. Let's put this down. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Macro Chat Live. And guess what I have? Who I have? Whoop, over this way. I have AD Wheeler. I'm so excited to have him here. He is my first guest. Very special to have AD here. I'm going to let you guys know straight off the bat, this guy is my mentor. I have several mentors in my life, and AD is one of them, so I'm very honored to have you here. Andy, go ahead. Let's see if everybody could hear you, because most of my people that have hang out with me know that Sherry Miller was here and they couldn't hear me, Sherry. So let's get this rolling. And if you could say hello, how's it going, whatever, just to say the voice. Oh my gosh. You killed me.
Yeah, I would have to do it because, you know, it wouldn't be us if I didn't mess with you a little bit. So, no, I think everything's working. I'm not listening on Facebook, so if I turn it up, then you know I won't be able to it'll echo.
Yeah. So Kim's here, and she's on Facebook, YouTube. So I just said hello to Kim, and just for everybody, you know, that haven't actually chatted with us before on this show, almost all of these live shows and streamings about 30 to a minute in delay. So she says hi guys, but I'm going to ask her, can you hear us? Just because this is our first time, you know, it's like, can you hear us? With the little smiley face. But we are delayed, and we will do our best to make sure that we answer your questions. I know that there is some people in Ireland. Elise, how are you doing? She is one of our huge, she just loves to share macro photography, and she's been on the show a couple times, her images for critiques, Andy. So, cool. So anyways, yeah, so I'm excited to change the time. Cheers, everyone. I am having wine today. I probably won't. What are you having? Water. Oh, you're not having your dark beer.
No, we're on a beercation right now. So, well, because you know, through the holidays, I tend to overdo a little bit, you know. And the last bottle of we did a Game of Thrones bottle, and it's I think 14% alcohol or something like that. So it's a dark beer with a real you know, a Game of Thrones punch to it. So that was the last one of the holidays. We're taking a little bit of a break right now and kind of detoxifying.
Oh yeah, I hear you.
Yep.
I hear you on that, especially during the holidays. It's like party time, especially for all of us. But yeah, so I want to thank you again for being here, and
my pleasure.
I'm super excited to share your website, your images, what your equipment is like the funnest part of the show for me. I mean, other people will be different. We'll have Kim actually has an image, which is awesome that she submitted, which is cool. Awesome. And before we dive into AD, which you guys have got to check out his website, but before we dive in, I'm going to just do some technical stuff that we always do, or whatever it is, you know, just give you a little bit about who I am and what I do. So I'm going to, this show is every other Thursday, and in order to really check out the critiques and, you know, put your images in and all that fun stuff, you could go to our website at sullivanjphotography.com. Macro Live is here. That's going to give you everything, because we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we're on Twitch. Twitch is brand new. I'm super new to Twitch. And last time, AD, when you were chatting with me, I didn't know. Remember, I thought you were a spam or whatever. You know, I was like,
I was a spam bot. Right.
Because there's some freaks out there. Sorry, but there is. And I'm using this thing. It's a restream chat, so I can see everything, which is cool. Catherine's here. Kim's here. I love it. I'm so happy that you guys are here, and I can see it. The only problem with my restream chat is that I can't actually. Oh, Kim says wine for me too. Go, girl. Awesome. But the only thing that's kind of a bummer is that I can't actually type to restream, so I have to individually go to the different areas. So that's kind of a bummer. But
yeah, I think it's better though. Like if you see something in chat, you guys have a question in chat, we'll answer it right on the air. I mean, that's probably the easiest.
Right.
So we usually don't have time to type.
Exactly.
Doing everything that you're doing over there, Janice, right now.
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about all the behind the scenes crazy. So as I see them to the left, I will talk to you guys, and then if Andy, in case, because it does actually, supposedly it's supposed to do Facebook also. You know, pretty much YouTube is one of my specialties, but I don't know if so far I've only seen YouTube. Hopefully they say Facebook is supposed to work. We shall see.
It is. It is. I'm actually watching Facebook right now. I want to say hi to Travis Keys. Oh. Travis, by the way, Travis, thank you so much for sharing my YouTube. We got our YouTube subscribers. I'm sorry, Janice, I'm just going to butt in here.
Oh, no, that's cool.
I've been wanting to say this for days, but everybody jumped on and supported me and my YouTube channel with all the stuff that's going on at YouTube right now. I'm not quite there yet. I still need the watch time, the minutes are what's going to probably kill me, but I just want to say thank you to Travis. He's out there right now. Thank you very much for helping me out with that and posting that in the Sony group. That was really awesome. Devin Franks is out there, an old friend of mine from a band that I used to be in. And also Pam Eggers is out there as well.
Yay!
She says hello.
Yes, yeah. She's a good friend. Yeah, I was, you know, you're so close. Yeah, 1,000. You have to have 1,000 people now on YouTube in order to like get all.
1,000 people and 4,000 hours of watch time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's the killer. That's going to hurt a lot of people in their partnerships, and monetization is the. And I don't want to. This is for discussion at another time. Mm-hmm. So, but I just want to say thank you to Travis, because he jumped right out there and did that. So that was awesome.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. That's what I shared. I shared your goodies too.
Yes, you did. There was so much. I told several people, and I was not kidding at all. Like, some of the people on there were going to make me cry, because it just, you know, was so nice of everybody, and I was really posting out of frustration. As Travis, who goes by my webpage quite often, knows that, and he likes to as well. We support each other in our frustrations. But yeah, that's kind of what the post was, and then it turned into like this community thing, which was really cool. So yeah,
awesome. No, that's good. All right, one last thing before we dive into AD's goodies. I'm going to give you my brought to you by. So hold on one second. Oh, browser. I put the browser. I screwed it up. Today's Macro Photography Live Chat Show is brought to you by Adventurers of the F-Stop, a $29 monthly membership to elevate your macro and landscape photography and business skills. Just go to membership.sullivanjphotography.com and check out all the details to push your creations in 2018. Okay, we're back. I'm brought to you by Membership Sullivan J Photography. That's right. I'm sponsoring myself. I got to these days.
So do what you got to do.
I do, man. I'm telling you. But I love it. Kim and Catherine are actually a part of the membership, and we just got a newbie, which is really cool. So that she just jumped in this week, so I'm excited about that. But we're going to talk about you, not about me. So let me get your website up because we want to share everything to everyone, at least my goodies. I've already got, I'm being partial here. So let me share your website. There is Andy's website. Okay, but I told AD that I said, there's some specific things that I really wanted to share, and one of the things that I told him that I wanted to share was I love his my top 7 photos for 2017, and he has his reasons for that. But before we start it, I just want to share, this is my number one. It's the actual macro of his beautiful monarch butterfly. But I just love all of these images for 2017. I'm very envious because I had a really bad year of actually producing a lot of work because of the membership that I did, and I did a program with Marie Forleo. So I just it was just like a business thing. You know how that's horrible, Andy, when you just have to do business all the time, even though we love what we do. But I'm sharing your website as we go. But talk to me about it.
That 2017 thing was just something that, I saw a lot of people posting their year-end stuff. For me, it was a very small year in photography as far as clicking the shutter went. So I didn't do a lot of that. But upon reflecting on the images, the quality of my images, there were fewer, but they were better quality for me when I went through and looked at them. And then I decided that, everybody's doing this. This is my, this is like my 2017 portfolio, essentially, is what they're posting. It's like my best. I mean, these really were my favorite images, and every one of these images has like a little learning lesson I felt behind why it was my favorite. Like you may look at it and be like, that's not that great of a photo, but read the story.
Exactly.
Because it has to do with its influence on me. It isn't about taking the most amazing photos every day. It's about trying different things and failing and learning from those failures and overcoming those failures, and then pulling off and I'm all I see right now in the corner of my eye is Facebook at like a 20-second delay.
Yes.
So I think you just passed by the on Facebook. This is going to seem weird to people, but the street vendor shot, which was a milestone photo for me. I'm not a street photographer. I'm not very good at it. I admire a lot of street photographers like John Free and several others that are just amazing at what they do. Mm-hmm. And I realized how hard it is to do it. And that was the first time I ever approached anybody in the street and said, hey, can I take your photo? Like I literally walked up to him. I thought about just taking the shot and running, but I'm like, you know what? I want to make a connection. I want to talk. Mm-hmm. I have a hard time with that with the camera. Yeah. I can talk to people. I can come up and talk to them.
Yep.
But to come up and say, can I take your photo is just, I don't know. It's just weird to me. So mm-hmm. I wanted to try to break that. I was with some friends from the Ukraine that I'd never hung out with friends from the Ukraine before. That was amazing. We were in New York City at a photo walk, and just this guy was there, and there was nobody at his, he was out there. There was nobody there. and he was just so gracious to let me take his photo, and he looked great. And so yeah, that was a good photo. And
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, some of the other stuff in there is just about my adventures and kind of what I learned this year. I took a lot of film shots with a camera that I actually I kind of rebuilt on my Patreon channel.
Oh, that's cool.
My Rolleiflex Model 7 or Ricoh Flex. Actually, I don't have a expensive Rolleiflex. I have a Ricoh Flex. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was a shallow year for taking photos. We're doing a lot with Luminar and MacFun.
Yeah.
And now Skyloom Photography. And,
oh, I didn't see that.
Just working really hard with those guys, and you know, didn't get to take a lot of photos, but did a lot of learning. So that it was a good year for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, your stories are amazing. I really enjoyed it. I'm sharing right now. I stopped on one of your number 3, and this is what attracted me to you, because you're an abandoned photographer, and oh my gosh, people, you got to check it out. But anyways, I love history, and so yes, I'm a macro photographer. Yes, I'm a landscape, but people don't know too. We're going to talk about this, me and Andy. People don't know that I really get into very historical things. So I have a landscape called. Oh, I forget what it's called again. I always say I said that to my mentorships. Like, what the heck is it called? The Human Element. It's the portfolio is called The Human Element, and it's all historical stuff, and not always abandoned, but because I like history and I love old stuff. This is how I found you on Google, and you might not have known that story, and I wanted to tell you that.
Yeah, abandoned scapes are kind of my jam. That's, today I talked about a podcast I did earlier today with a guy who got me started in still photography, Walter Arnold. He was doing an interview, and I was kind of doing your part in the interview with him. And it just was neat to hear him talk about, when we first got started in this, and the very first place that we explored together, and what got us, started in doing this, what we went through as far as criticism about being open in writing about the places that we visited, and then, getting to where we are today through just constant, like eyes on the prize, focus forward, that sort of thing. And it was neat to hear him, talk about
today's macro photography live chat show is brought to you by.
For me, it's always been about those old places, simply because I got bored. I'm super easy. I get bored real quick. People have heard me share. I share these songs called mashups, which are like 3 songs all put together in one song, and they don't make any sense. It'll be like AC/DC with Michael Jackson singing or whatever. I get that way with music too. I'll be listening to some. I like all styles of music, everything. I love it. And then I'll just get totally bored of everything, and I'll go listen to these mashups, which totally like melts my brain. Yeah. And allows me to kind of just to decompress. And I do that same thing with photography. People know me for the abandoned scapes, but I've been a portrait photographer for a long time. I do landscape, waterfall, travel stuff. I do macro, and we're going to talk about the macro stuff tonight. We have some photos that pretty much are unreleased. People have probably never seen these photos.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, I'm excited. They're special for my show.
Right. Well, the thing is that we, not so much you, because you're smart. You live where it's a fairly good climate year round. But I live in an area where we have, 3 months of top-notch weather and 6 months or 9 months of who knows what you're going to get. And that's the way it is here in upstate New York and in New England, and anybody who's up in the north knows that. And so for me, there's a lot of experimentation that I do when I'm cooped inside. I don't get along with cold weather well, even though I've been out and shot in super cold weather and muscled through it. So I like to experiment, and I don't, I'm not shooting abandoned scapes. So I'm buying toys and playing with stuff and doing studio things with water droplets and all that sort of stuff. And we get some flowers on the. I love shooting flowers close up. I like trying different things. This was with a spray bottle, in an old mason jar. I think you're looking at the
Yeah, yeah, I
I
love
did a
it.
whole series of those, never released them to anybody. I just like experimenting and learning the camera and learning the boundaries of what the camera and the lenses can do.
Hmm.
And I think that you're not, if you just take pictures of, let's say you're like your jam is taking pictures of trees.
Hmm.
If you go out and you do nothing but take pictures of trees, that's great, and that's your brand, that's what you do. You do fine art trees, it's awesome. But how do you, like, after 20 years of doing that, how do you expand? How do you keep fresh? I think you
Exactly.
have to learn your equipment, you got to learn the bounds of things, of what you're capable of, and I think that trying different genres helps that. I think, for me at least.
Yeah.
And so macro is one of those things, man. I just love messing with it and playing with it. And I got a bunch of toys I brought with me tonight to talk about. That was at the Butterfly Conservatorium, I think they
It's
call
one
it,
of my
up in Buffalo.
favorites. Oh my God, I love
Yeah.
it.
Oh, that's in my backyard. The little.
The
What is
one right
it?
here? Oh my gosh, I left
I don't
this
know
on
which
for a
one
while.
you're on.
The one I'm on right now is it should be, you should be seeing it because it's over 30 seconds. It's a monarch on a flower
Oh, it's
profile.
on an echinacea plant. The
Yeah.
coneflower. That's
Yes.
actually a moth.
It's
So
a moth.
yeah. And, and so the one that you like from my webpage is not a monarch either.
It's not. Holy
No.
crap.
So we have probably 5 or 6 varieties of moths, and big moths that are like butterflies. These are really indigenous, and I know all the names. Just don't ask me off the top of my head. And we had a couple of monarchs this year. We used to keep a butterfly bush, and the butterfly bush got to be about 7 feet tall. And we had a killing frost, and we lost it. But the year that we had it, we had hummingbird moths, which were amazing. I mean, these things look like hummingbirds, but they're giant moths. They were
Really?
amazing. We'd have Luna moths. We'd have these little guys. We have hundreds of the little white butterflies. In fact, you walk in our backyard in the summer, and it's like this something out of a fairy tale fantasy movie with all these little white butterflies flying all over our garden.
That's awesome.
I failed to be able to capture them in a way that captures that, but that's for another day. But yeah, I love going out and just Danielle plants all
Oh,
of
this is pretty.
these specific flowers just to capture the bugs, and they come and they hang out here for the whole summer, and so yeah, so that's where all the equipment and the fun stuff comes in, is experimenting with that. You know, if I can't get out and travel, I'm in the backyard like going nuts. That's a monarch on the single flower. If you're getting to that
Yes,
one,
I just did. Yeah.
that's
What
at
is this
Cornell
one? Hold on one
University.
second. Oh, I like this one too. That was at Cornell. Is that what you're saying? That was at Cornell?
Yeah, the single
The
that
single?
is a monarch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they do a lot of studies at Cornell, and so you find insects on campus up there that you don't find anywhere else. So it's pretty cool. I
Yeah.
have a whole series on these crazy wasps that we found up there that were these giant things that were really cool. I have pictures on those too.
Oh my gosh, how exciting. I need to get out and do bugs more. The only time I do bugs is if they start crawling on my flower, and then I'm like, oh, there you are. How are you?
Yeah, so we did, the best
This
time
is
to
cool
do
too.
bugs are in the morning. So
Yes.
because they don't run from you. And I'll tell you, if you like to shoot butterflies or you want to learn to shoot butterflies, do not, whatever you do, stand back. If you see a butterfly, observe the flowers, the area that it's on, the flower that it's on, and then move towards that flower. The butterfly's going to fly away, but don't move. Stay right there. That butterfly will come back. They fly around like 50, 75 feet away. You won't even see them. Ours usually go around our garage, so they like disappear. And the next thing you know, they're flying right over your shoulder and landing on that flower again, because they're hungry, and they want a chance to fly away and get a look at you before they come back to feed.
Yeah.
A lot of people try to chase the butterflies, and they get really discouraged because you'll chase them right away at that.
That's a great tip. Yeah. Oh, this is a good one. I'm sharing the hummingbird, and I actually have a hummingbird feeder outside of my bedroom that I keep saying I'm gonna get that lens, my 70 to 200, get a close up of them.
So that's the hummingbird in the rain, and so oh no, that's the close up.
Oh no, that's a close up. Here's the one in the rain. That one's really, look at that. Is that outside your house?
Yeah, that's right on my deck. So
Cool.
the hummingbird in the rain was just a standard 70 to 200, but the one before that, that was actually I think I used a 70 to 200 on that with a pole-mounted remote flash. So what I did is I set up a flash next to the feeder. And the crazy thing about these hummingbirds is that when they come in, if you use the flash to capture them, and if you look really close at that one where he's kind of turning, you can actually see the flash in his eye. So the crazy thing about them is like the first time you flash them, they buzz off like what the heck. And then when they come back to the feeder, after that you can run your flash like crazy, and it does not bother them at all. So what's nice about it is that you can set up your shutter so that if you shoot them around dusk or just before dusk, that's when they like to feed because it's cooler. And for them to fly in the heat is very tough because they can't feed fast enough to feed their metabolism. So a lot of hummingbirds, it's tough for them to fly in the heat. So if you capture them on a summer day in the late afternoon, they're more apt to come back and feed more often. And just as you start to lose the light around blue hour, if you have your flash set up, you can actually get the hummingbird. That's a very dark background, but I do have some that look like the hummingbirds flying in complete blackness. But it was just because my shutter speed was not fast enough to pick up the background.
Right.
Flash lit up this hummingbird.
Yeah.
So you can have a lot of fun with that. And
I like that though.
The birds, they're really, like, hummingbirds are awesome because they're just fearless. I mean, they will get right in your face. I've had them fly right up to the lens on me and just be like, "What are you doing?" Of course, you can't take a picture because they're too close. But
oh my gosh, that's so cool. Yeah, they've gotten in fights outside of my backyard. I mean, they're pretty aggressive. This is a grasshopper. I have to tell you though, man, that thing is so awesome. Our grasshoppers aren't as pretty as yours in the New England area. This California grasshoppers are ugly.
That's a locust, actually.
Oh, it's locust. That's why.
Yeah. So that what he's sitting on is a 4x4 post, a 4-inch by 4-inch post. So you can, I used focus stacking with this.
Yes. Yes.
And so this picture was taken with a 70 to 200 as well. And to focus stack it, I actually did it manually because I thought he was going to fly away. So I just sat there and kept the center of my lens like right on his abdomen, and I just kept moving the camera back and forth as I held the shutter down, just snapping pictures like crazy to move the focal plane back and forth over the top of them. And the software did a really nice job of
it did
stitching. I think I used Zareen for that.
Yep, Zareen's awesome.
Well, yeah, because the other software, Helicon, does not work with the Sony cameras. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at least it didn't at the time. It might work with.
Yeah, they probably changed it up. Before we got on, I want to say Myra says hello. Hi, Janice and AD. Kim says I subscribed to your channel, AD. Sorry, I didn't subscribe earlier, so we're getting you there. Hi, David.
Well, there for subscribers, guys. You got to watch all my videos. That's what I need.
No, his videos are awesome. You got to watch his videos. Here's another moth. It's the yellow one, very close up, which is very beautiful. I'm going to get rolling on this because we got to get into your equipment, which I'm really excited about. Here's another beautiful moth. Gosh, you have such great moths there. I'm like so jealous. What the heck?
The echinacea, we have like so our garden's like a sculpted garden. There's like little teardrop areas. That last one there on top of the weird looking cactus flowered plant is actually at the Niagara Conservatorium for butterflies up there, which is amazing. This thing has like 15,000 butterflies, and you go in and they fly all over your hair, everywhere. They just love you. So
that's cool.
But yeah, so some of those shots were from there, but most of them are from my backyard. We plant these coneflowers everywhere. We have poppies, coneflowers, and bee balm, and we have butterflies all summer long.
Yeah, I'm looking at a beautiful bee right now, hanging out. That's a beautiful shot too.
I'll tell you something that's interesting about the bee shots. Um, that I had, so I'm allergic to bees.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, yeah. And I got stung in the corner of my eye when I was a kid. I was sleeping in a bee's nest in our attic. Like, we didn't know it was there, and the bees got into the room, and they stung my hands, and one stung me right on the corner of my right eye. And I've always had a fear of bees.
I don't blame you.
The camera has changed that. I don't.
Oh, interesting.
I don't fear them anymore. I go out. I get right up in their face, real close to them. They're just. I mean, they really don't care.
Yeah.
If you're not swatting them or spraying them with water or something.
Yeah.
These honeybees and stuff are. You know, we do have wasps and hornets and mud hornets and stuff we have to watch out for. And we do have big carpenter bumblebees that get quite nasty when they come in trying to find a place to chew up. But for the most part, like, our bee balm gets covered with these big, fat, hairy bumblebees.
Yeah, those are great.
They're cool. And I used to be scared to death of those things. They're not anymore, man. We just go out there and hang out with them, and they don't care. They just don't care you're there.
Yeah. I've got some shots of big black bumblebees. They're beautiful, black and yellow. Here's a couple more.
Yeah.
You've got this one, and the one that I'm sharing right now, which will take about 30 seconds to hit you, is one in flight. The other one's hanging out. That's a great shot. I love the flight ones, and I love that. You know, we'll talk technical here, but I love that the wings are out of focus. I got that feel of the motion of it too. So yes, we try to get things tack sharp sometimes, but sometimes you got to tell that story. So I mean, I just love this shot too. I mean, it's like
I contemplated sharing that one because I
really?
wasn't sure that, but it was another one of those shots where I liked it, and I just thought it was interesting. The honeybee's kind of going about its business, and this other bee, which is invasive to our area, these green-bodied bees, which are new here. This was the first year that we had seen them up here. We only had a couple of them. They're very hard to photograph because they just, the minute they see the camera coming, they're off on something else. And so I just caught him as he was kind of hightailing it out of there. But they were this iridescent green. They're really gorgeous.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've never seen anything green. I mean, I'm from California, but my husband's from Boston. So we lived out there. I mean, I know about green heads. Those are those flies out there in New England. Right. Oh, my gosh. They hurt. But I've never seen anything like this. This is crazy. I love it. See, but I love that, too. Look at that motion. It's very cool, very expressive. And that's, you know, we pass these things up. This is why I did this macro show, because we pass this stuff up all the time, and it's fun for us photographers to capture these moments and to share it with everyone. This is one of my favorites. Here's another one. This one has got to be, I'm sharing a monarch. It's got to be a monarch, and then there's another bee to the side. That one's beautiful. I'm going to get rolling here because we've got to talk about 80s equipment, Andy's equipment. Yeah. Anyway, then here is the red dragonfly, which is very cool. Dragonflies we do have out here, and we have, actually I go to Pam, she's my best buddy here. She lives in Lake Havasu, and we take the boat out and we go to these places, and they're all over the place. So I really do enjoy them. Oh, shoot, I went too far.
The red dragonfly was actually from Yellowstone when we were out there.
Oh, really?
All of the dragonflies that were around the geysers were all that brilliant, bright red. So we weren't sure if it was because they munch on the bacteria out there, like because a lot of the microbial mats are all red, and so I wondered. The park ranger didn't seem to know. But it's kind of a weird coincidence that they're the same tone as all the microbial mats around Grand Prismatic. So yeah, that was at Grand Prismatic out in Yellowstone.
That's a place that I would love to dive into. I've never been to Yellowstone's bucket list.
Well, here was a case though. We talk about, this is not the photographer that I am, because no one will see this shot unless they watch your show. I just, having the skill and seeing these guys out there, I got some really cool shots that I can remember, and if nobody else enjoys them, that's fine. But if I didn't have the ability to know how to shoot close up and have done the practice, then I would have missed a moment. So
Yep, for sure. That's what's so true. You know, take your camera, and that's definitely something that, let me get on to both of us. But yeah, I think that it's a good thing to talk about, is that not everybody's special. You know, when you're, like you just said, because I wanted to ask about your inspiration, or what, you know, how you get going, and it's to try different things. And that's one of the reasons why, how I got to know you, is because I was stagnant shooting the same thing all the time. So it is, you know, for you guys out there watching, you know, look at AD's work. It's beautiful. He's sharing this with me, and I totally appreciate it. But when you do this, you know, you just take the time to learn it. You may not, that might not be your profession, but take time and really enjoy. What about your post-processing? I was just kind of curious on that. Do you, when you do this stuff here that we've shared, I could share it again, but do you just shoot and then go to post-processing, or what do you think about when you're actually on these images like this? The one that I'm sharing is it looks like a monarch, and, you know, I mean, how do you do your post-processing? What's your thought process? Do you just go for it, or what? I'm just kind of curious.
Well, yeah, with the macro stuff, it's purely like, it's all about the focus. I mean, I don't think I have anything else in my brain. Maybe a little bit of composition, but my brain is always like, if I don't get perfect composition and I do get it in focus, I can crop it, because I'm probably going to crop the image anyway. And sometimes that comes back to bite me, because I'll get the shot, I'll get the focus, and then I'll be on the wrong side of the frame, or I can't crop it the way I want to, or there'll be a plant in the wrong spot. And you know, there's a lot of learning. Like you're showing like the cone flowers with the that's not a monarch. I can't think of the name of that butterfly. We have them. We have they're here all the time. And then the bee.
Yep.
I'm like behind the
yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah,
but you know, like the one with the cone flowers and the butterfly, I mean, it's not, you know, I sent that along just simply because I knew you liked the butterfly itself, and the butterfly is in focus. But the cone flowers, there's 4 of them, and I don't like the fact that there's 4 of them in the shot. I really would have been better if there was 3, or if there was 1. You know, we like to keep those odd numbers, and so there are a lot of times when you just can't crop an image, and I'm just like, you know what, I wanted to just show some of the creatures that we have, you know, and I'm not submitting any of these to any contests or anything like that. This is purely, these images are generally taken just for me to practice. It is practice, and if you don't practice on something when you're pulling that trigger, if you're just not using your cameras at all, you're gonna get rusty, just like anything. So it's, you know, so that's what I use. That's what I use the macro stuff for. My backyard's always there, so there's no excuse for me not to grab the camera and go out there and, you know, shoot and practice. And same thing, you know, when the weather's really bad, I do it in the house. I have some lights I do in the house, and I'll show you like the light bulb. You've shown the light bulb in the lilies, which I grabbed. That was actually in the middle of summer, which was weird for me, but I shot them in the middle of summer because that's when those flowers bloom. But you can get flowers year round at the grocery store. Bring flowers home, and the advantage to those flowers is that they don't have any bugs on them. In the summer, when I bring flowers in, notoriously I bring in a whole bunch of creepy crawlies with me that I don't even realize are inside the flowers or wherever, and then, you know, I'll be like, oh, there's a giant spider on the wall. That's because I brought them in the flowers.
I've had that too. You know, you can't be afraid. Definitely, you can't be afraid of bugs. I mean, okay, I'm going to do something and people are going to like trip out. Okay, hold on. Ready? My grandson found this beautiful beetle. Whoa. Well, I'm going to macro shoot it. I mean, you know, some women are like all freaked out. Oh my God. Well, not this one.
That's cool. Yeah, so I don't do is I really don't. I don't freeze.
Yeah, I don't either.
Insects. I don't. You know, if I want an insect to slow down, I'll go out early in the morning. In fact, early in the morning is great because the dew is all over them. They're really slow. They don't want to move around. They won't run from you. That grasshopper was a good example, but he just sat there the entire time, and no matter how close I got to him, he was just like, "Nah, I'm tired. It's been a long day, and do what you're gonna do. If you're gonna, off me, then off me." And I'm like,
Yeah, I don't. I'm the same with you. That's why we're good friends here, because we have the same vibe there. Kim says, I get flowers from Safeway all the time. You go, girl, because, oh my gosh, wait, her beautiful. Okay, let's get going to the equipment. I'm going to do my little intro because Andy has some great equipment, and then we got to go into critique. So let me get this going real quick. Let me make sure, what are we going to do? We're going to do equipment. So let me push this baby down, and... Okay, we're back. It's all you. It's all you.
Oh, no, it's all
Yay!
me.
I'm so excited. Oh, and I realized that, you know what, I'm going to go to this other, only AD and I understand about designing the OBS.
Well, I'm basically going to show you kind of like a chronological order of equipment. So when I first started shooting macro, of course, you can only get so close with normal lenses unless you buy a macro specific lens. I did not have the money to do that. So to experiment, I went the route of buying, these simple rings that allow you to turn any lens. These are called extension rings. They're dumb. You have to still use manual focus, but you can buy them for $15 on Amazon. This was how cheap. I started. I started with these simple little rings, and this was very frustrating. So I was like, I need to come up with something else to do. So then I decided that I wasn't frustrated enough, so I got Janice's favorite thing, which is a bellows.
Yes.
So this is an old Minolta bellows. I bought it for $49. It came in the box, and it also came with two lenses. It came with a 50mm 1.7 and a 135mm that go on the end here from Minolta. And this was like a forensic unit at the time, I guess. They would use this to zoom in precisely to get everything in focus. And it's got a little gauge here on the side. It's very mechanical. It's very steampunk, so I like it. It actually doesn't work on anything that I own anymore.
Oh, that's right, because you're Sony now.
Well, it was made for Sony Alpha, which this is a Sony Alpha camera. But this Sony Alpha camera is an IR camera, which might be fun IR macro, right? That might be fun to play around with. I haven't, played around with that or thought about that yet.
Sounds like a blast.
But the sensors in both my IR cameras, which were self-converted, have kind of been abused, and they're not in all that great shape anymore. But you know what I haven't thought about? This actually has a Minolta mount on it. I bet you that this part of it is straight up Minolta, because that's a Minolta to Alpha mount. I bet you that this will mount on my Minolta to E mount. So I'm going to try that. So now that's going to, because I have something else that's very cool for this. I have an autofocus ring that'll adapt this to, so it'll autofocus with a bellows on it. Which
wow, that's great. If anybody shoots bellows, that doesn't happen.
So all of this, so when I went mirrorless, so I had that back when I was a regular DSLR shooter, and then I went mirrorless, and so I started getting into vintage lenses. And so every time I would buy lenses, there'd be all of these like really cheap, weird things that people would leave in their camera cases and stuff. And some of that cheap weirdness was this set of macro lenses that goes on the front of your camera rather than on the back. So this goes on the front of the lens, and it's, if you can see,
like look at that. That looks cool like that. I like that.
Big magnifying glass. And each one of them has a different strength, so you can see.
Yeah, okay.
So you can. So this doesn't look like it's much, right? But then you can take all three of them. This is going to look really weird. You can take all three of them and stack them together.
Oh, really? So it's really close then, right? When you do that?
Yeah. So I played around with that in the vintage lenses a little bit. It's very hard to focus with these. They distort the light really bad. So you end up with, even though you can get close, it's kind of more like I don't know. It's for the novelty of getting close to something.
Well, it's good for people that haven't started with a macro lens, but want to get up close just to taste it, and then you get hooked.
Right. And so after that, I bought a 70-200, which was a macro lens, and I had a lot of fun with that lens. I miss it. In fact, every time I go on a trip, I end up renting a 70-200, and I keep telling Danielle, my better half, I keep telling her every year that I'm just going to end up buying one of these things because I'm renting it every time. But then after I kind of fiddled around with that, I got bored again. I went the route of, that's a 50-millimeter adapter ring.
Yes, those are great.
That adapts the old 50-millimeter to you can turn it around backwards. So I went that route. Then, now I'm going to show you the craziness, which if like all of the things that turn somebody into an insane person in what they do.
Yeah.
Turning around for that.
AD hasn't showed me this one yet.
All right, here it is.
Holy crap! What is?
So, yeah. So this is an Orbis.
That's
and you can't get them anymore.
What is it called? I'm sorry, because I was laughing.
It's an Orbis.
Orbis. Okay.
O-R-B.
You can't get them. Oh.
You can't get this anymore. It was expensive at the time. What it is I have a standard flash speedlight unit that shoots up inside this ring, which has all sorts of cool reflectors in it that turns this essentially into a ring light.
Oh, wow.
So what's nice about it is because, ring lights, I'm like not a full-time macro shooter. If I was, I'd probably look into a ring light. But even ring lights are not that bright. I mean, usually they're LEDs. They're kind of okay. This thing is blazingly bright.
Really?
And so it comes with a bracket. You mount your camera on it, the whole thing there, and you go out and you chase around bugs with it, and it feels like a big weapon.
Wow.
So you feel like you have a shield. You don't even know the bugs are there. But the cool thing is actually on the camera. So this is really cool. It's great for product photography. It makes products look awesome because it's this nice round diffused light that's really bright. I can I don't know.
It's funny that you say that because in my membership on Saturday we're doing a workshop on pearls, close up on pearls.
Sure.
So that
So this is the cool thing though. This is a powered or not powered, but a pass-through extension ring. So even with this on there, this lens will still focus now because this passes through the focus ability to whatever lens. So it turns any lens into a macro lens. I literally can get, in fact, I was doing it earlier.
So what is that, Andy? What is that?
I can focus that close.
I can't see. It's cutting you off. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, good. You're showing us the depth, the length. But what was?
I was that close to that
Go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Now we can see you because I have you cut.
So yeah, I was basically this far away with the lens from that model and still able to autofocus.
That's amazing. You can't even do that. I have an adapter that I can reverse the lens and it does exposure, and you can also do the I don't know if I shared it on the macro live.
You can see that the things pass through. So
yes, that's what it is. Exactly.
Yeah, and they're not expensive. They're only like $25.
Wow, that's great. So can you give me the link so we could put it on the show notes? Because that would be awesome to share with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to do that. And so that's kind of where it's progressed. Now when I want to do close-up stuff, I put this autofocus thing on there, put the Orbis ring on, and just go nuts. I don't have to carry an auxiliary flash with me. Like a lot of times when I'm in the garden, I would hold a flash out here, and then I put my, I don't know where it's at. Oh, I have a Yongnuo remote. So this is just a remote unit that powers, it sends signal to all my flashes. And I can group my flashes, right?
Yeah.
So what I would do is mount this on the camera. So I've got it on the camera, right?
Yes.
And then I'd hold the flash out like this while I, That's me
Definitely.
shooting some.
No, that's
Uh,
perfect. Get it off the. You can't do macro too. There's no way unless you have that ring light really close, like you're saying. You can't
right.
do it on the top. It's just not
Well, and
going to
the thing
work.
with that Orbis is that it's extremely bright. I mean, I have to dial my flash way down. I don't know, and I'm really surprised they don't make it anymore.
Hmm.
They had a great Flickr group. You can go on Flickr and see what people were doing with the Orbis.
Mm-hmm.
I got one of the last ones. It was on closeout, and you still might be able to find them used on eBay or whatnot.
Right.
But
Right.
they are really awesome and a lot of fun. And the light is just they're like the Gary Fong spheres. If
Mm-hmm.
you've ever played with the Gary Fong stuff, it's it just does it right. Makes the light look really cool. So
Yeah. It,
yeah,
it looks
but
like
that's
it.
it. That's show and
No,
tell.
that's
That's all.
awesome, man. I love looking. I knew you would have such. I knew you were going to share some great stuff for the people that are watching this because not everyone can sit there and afford all these expensive things. And what I love about you, AD, is that you can take equipment that's not crazy expensive and just work it. I mean, and there you are. You don't have to have crazy expensive equipment to make macro photography. So
Yeah,
I'm going to
and
grab
that's
those links from you and
Yeah, I'll
share.
share those. That's kind of a product of my childhood. I mean, I grew up in a poor family, and we kind of had the, we my mom would buy it once, and if you broke it, then you either fix it or go without. That's how it worked.
Hmm.
So I learned to fix bicycles when I was younger, because I was a boy and I like to
Hmm.
jump my bikes and ride wheelies and do all that stuff, and bikes don't like that very much. So I learned how to fix them, and it was the same thing with electronics too. And I think I was 11 years old when I took my first TV apart, and
Oh,
um, I,
wow,
I,
really?
I took the yoke off the back of the TV, and I connected my stereo to it, wired it all back up, and I pumped my stereo into the yoke on the back of the TV, and it made an oscilloscope to the music on the front. All my friends were just like, "Whoa, how'd you do that?" I can't. I think I read it in Popular Science or something
Oh
like
my
that. No,
gosh,
it was
that's
only years
so
later I
cool.
realized I was learning more about electronics that I realized that there was like 40,000 or 400,000 volts on the flyback of a standard tube television, that if you don't discharge it, it will launch you across the room and kill you.
Yeah. Oh my
But
gosh.
no, I just, I was oblivious to it. So, uh,
And thank God you're okay. Jeez.
yeah, yeah.
Man,
Oh, I've been shocked a couple of times. So,
Oh, wow. Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? Thank you so much for sharing those goodies. I love it
sure.
all. And we'll go ahead and dive into critique. Let me get into my little critique logo thing, and then we will chat about that. Okay, let me get over. Sorry, I jumped over real quick. Okay, I knew, one man band. Here we go. Let's get rid of that logo. And what we have first is Kim. Yay, Kim. So let me read what Kim has to say, just to let you guys know that on my website, like I was sharing before, there is some. I'm not going to just share any image. I need to have information about the photograph. And these two people have given us some great images and some information with behind the scenes, because I want to know what your goals are, what you were thinking about, and all that fun stuff. And I love to have, I usually just have one or two images on the show so I can really dive into them. And I'm really happy that AD can chat about them. So I let him know that I'm going to poke him and have him do a little critique here. So let me just read real quick what Kim said. And the image that you're seeing in front, she says, I have a vase of tulips on my kitchen counter for the last few days. Today I noticed that they are fully open and about to start losing their petals. The beautiful centers of the flowers are visible when they are at the stage. So these tulips are really soft pink. They are a soft pink color, and the petals are almost transparent. I wanted to get the center of the flower and have it framed with the soft petals. I backlit the flowers to pass light through the petals and provide a frame around the center of the flower. She uses a Nikon D850 lens baby velvet 54, and she says, a 56, I'm sorry, and it's a F4, and she goes, I think because of Velvez or whatever. I don't have a lens, baby, but I don't think it gives the f-stop, that's why. But it's at 1/25 of a second, ISO 100. She says her original thought with this image was to totally darken the background, and then she has in parentheses, my pink sweatshirt. Then wait, she says, let me say this again. She says, my original thought with this image was to totally darken the background. And then parentheses, my pink sweatshirt is actually what she decided to use in this photo. So it was in the background, basically. She had her pink sweatshirt. And then she said, then I decided that the pink added a little to the photos, so I brought a little of the pink back in. And I wasn't exactly sure about the crop. If there might be a better crop to show off the flower, I will send you. And then she tells me about sending the large image because I do want to have the JPEG. So anyways, that's what Kim's thought process was. Her AD has gotten the information, so he knows what's up with Kim's. And so let's dive in to help Kim out and let me know what you feel, and then I have some notes. I did my own little notes, and if you don't touch on what I feel, then I'll just dive in after. But I'm going to let you go for it first. Okay,
cool.
AD?
Just wanted to say, Kim, by the way, nice lens.
You have one too? I'm so jealous. What the hell, man? I got to get with the program.
This is a great lens. It is really a great lens. So I don't make show notes. How do you like that, Kim? I'm one of those folks that I look at the image. Honestly, I looked at the image when Janice sent it over, simply to just make sure I got it.
Yeah.
But I don't like to really dive into an image until it comes time to talk about it. So it's nice that you gave us some idea of why you press the shutter button. I've said over and over again, it's really important for proper feedback is to know what the photographer was trying to accomplish with the image. With that said, and listening, to Janice tell me what, was in your head, I think you did a very, very good job. I like the softness of the image. I think the soft focus around it, obviously using the lens to its what it's made for. You accomplished that as well. So I think as far as your goals were concerned here, I don't really have anything negative to say there. I think you did a wonderful job with that. Composition-wise, have no idea. I think that it all depends on what else is on that stem. Would you like more of the stem in there? And I'm sure Janice is really the flower girl here, so she's going to have more to say. For me, I would just give you this is just a thing I do with flowers, and a gentleman that I follow, and I love his work, Alan Shapiro from New York, and I've mentioned his name almost anytime anybody mentions flowers or food, I mention him because he is a master at it, and he treats flowers like people. And I think I kind of when I see someone who impresses me and has an influence on me, I'll pick up on what they do and adapt that. And I think I've adapted that to the way that I shoot flowers. I think of them as portraits. So maybe a portrait instead of a landscape crop. Something just to think about there.
Pushing her out of the comfort zone.
The story of it, yeah. And, yeah, exactly. And so, but that's always been my thing. I always think of flowers and products, too, when I'm shooting products. I kind of think of them like people, which is weird, I know, but I just love that style, and that's what affected me, and I'm sure, you'll have your own people you follow. Definitely check out Alan's work, though, if you want some, crazy influence, because he is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
So yeah. I
like his
Janice, sure. Like I said, I'll turn it over to you. You're the flower.
I do love my flowers. I must admit, I'm going to change my camera to the right camera because I feel like I'm looking the other side there. Hey! So okay. So Yeah, she does beautiful work, and I know Kim, so I know I could push her. Some people I don't know, so I will, I won't be so critical. But I love how she lit the center, and as we get, whoa, that's a little too close. Hold on one second. She's got that all in focus, which is beautiful. So when it's printed, it's going to be really, you could tell that this is her focal point, which I just love. I do want to say though, Kim, when we print, so I know between AD, she wants to like sell her images on walls and stuff. So with Kim, I want to let you know that when you print, I want you to understand, see this little red area right in here? I got up really close because when you print large, that red contrast is really going to pop our eyes. So if that's something that you want, okay. I personally, my own personal thing, because my images are big, these macro, I would probably tone that contrast off a little bit by just cloning. She knows how to do all this stuff, so it's not like I'm telling her, do something that's crazy. So I would probably take some of the dark and just blend it in a little bit, because look down here at the bottom, you could see how it's nice, and look at it soft. This won't take our eyes away from your amazing focal point, which is right in here. I do agree with the crop. I think that I love that it's off-centered, and I understand the feel that you're getting to, so I did crop it a little bit. It's still taking it. Let me see if I can get you guys to see it real quick. We'll go to the crop. You could see that it's still basically on the thirds is just off a little bit, but the only reason why that I feel that the crop is, I like the crop a little bit more because I understand your story. Let me get back over. Sorry, this is like going crazy. Let's get back to the library, okay? Because I want to show you. So here, I understand when it comes to, say, if you want to get it into, interior design, you might want all this pink. And I'm really happy that you kept the pink, because I feel that it just enhances this beautiful flower. So that t-shirt, kudos, Kim, because t-shirt, who cares what the hell's behind it as long as it works, right? So I like the crop a little bit because I know that when this is printed, you still have the same feel, but it's still going to be more up in the face. That's just personal. That's just my personal opinion, but I think it's like AD was saying, it's very successful. I love it. It's gorgeous. I think anybody that's going to put it on their wall would, especially more 24 by 36 and larger, should have that on their wall for sure. So that is something that I would she has some programs that I gave her, AD, that where she can share her images with furniture and stuff, because this is where her clients are going to be. So I would definitely share this image for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a very minimalist, and it'll look good in a minimalist apartment situation, that sort of thing. Or in a home with a very clean line.
Exactly. Yep, for sure. Oh, wait, sorry guys, I got a cough drop in my mouth because I've been sick forever. If you guys could hear me. All right, so we'll go ahead and go into the second image. I'll read that. And here is, okay, now I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. I really feel bad. I think it's Arun, and he actually asked, is my image going to be on the show? Yes, your image is for sure on the show. He gave me all the information. He says, I wanted to get a clear water ripple and water drop in the air. So he wanted this drop to be not connected, which is very difficult if you're hand doing it. So he says, I almost achieved that. And it was my first attempt. I wanted to get reflection of the background pic, but failed there due to improper positioning. He used a 55 by 250 millimeter Canon lens on a 650D Canon camera with photo. It's basically, I'm gonna butcher it again. Photo diox. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, it's photo diox.
Diox. I just saw extension tube, so I knew he was using extension tube. Use external flash bouncing off the background And basically where did I put his? Oh, I had here it is. He had his exposure was manual. He used 1/30th of a second. F13, his ISO was 400. So that is his specs.
Yeah.
So
all right, so roll back on them specs a little bit there. Let's talk about that right off the bat. F13?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just so the overall thing here with what you stated for your goal, which was to capture the drop and get it clear and all that kind of stuff, it looks like your focal plane was pretty close, but your shutter speed's off. And the only way that you're going to capture water doing its thing and doing it fast, doing it as fast as it does it, is you're going to need to be faster than that 1/30th of a second. So F13 is also a little outside the sharp focus range of most lenses. Most lenses are calibrated at f8, which means that they'll have the most part of the image in focus in the focal plane at f8. So I would probably suggest that you lock your camera into f8. That'll get your shutter speed up a little bit because you're letting in more light. And the most important thing about this is have fun and keep doing it. This is your first shot. Kudos to you for submitting a first shot. Holy cow. Right?
You seriously.
Great. I wouldn't worry about the photo and getting that right now. You could play with changing your angle, but I think learning the settings that are going to work to stop that water, I believe that when I did this, I didn't see use of a flash because it said flash did not fire, but then Janice, did you say something about used a flash off camera?
Yeah. So it looks like he's an external flash bouncing off the background. So I would suggest, here's just some suggestions. Shoot through a white piece of paper, shoot through some packing bubbles. They're great for diffusing a lot of light. Never thought about that.
Probably try to shoot. I've had a lot of practice screwing around with this stuff and trying different stuff. I would suggest that you don't try to bounce the light. I would start off with trying to get the light on the water itself first and get that shutter speed as fast as possible. Now, unless you have a high-speed sync shutter or a high-speed sync flash, you're not going to be able to go over 1/200th or 1/250th of a second. So if you have that, that's great. You'll be able to crank it up quite a bit. The Sony that I have, the Sony flash that I have, actually has a strobe where it will flash at high-speed sync in a strobe while you hold the high-speed shutter down. So actually every shutter shot that it makes, it flashes right with it, so you can go in rapid succession.
Yeah.
You know, like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
And when you're shooting water droplets, it's great because you usually one of those will actually have nailed the exact composition that you wanted. As far as where the photo is and all that kind of stuff, you're going to have to experiment there. And the takeaway, nothing ventured, nothing gained here. You're trying something different. I would keep going. I will tell you, frustration-wise, water droplets are awesome, but if you go online and you challenge yourself to what you see online, keep in mind that they are using timing rigs in order to capture those water droplets. So the only way that they're getting those is with an infrared timing ring and a sync unit to actually capture that water frozen. So, have fun with it and experiment, and you're going to get some shots that actually work out. I've had experience in this. I did water droplets for a long time. Actually, I was going to submit to you, Janice, and I didn't, a whole series of shots that I did on a fountain in the middle of our town, which I spent about 6 hours in front of one part of the fountain just shooting the water because it was a granite fountain and the water was coming over the granite, and because granite's so smooth, the water sheeted, and then wind was blowing the water out and it was making these bubbles. that were blowing up out of the water and all this, and I just sat there for hours. And I think maybe one shot was interesting. It wasn't anything that I would keep, but I mean, you've got to do that. You've got to, you know, you've got to get in the 10,000 hours, you know, to get to that point. So definitely keep on this, keep doing more of it, and have fun. I mean, you got the right idea. You had the picture upside down so that it would appear right side up.
Yeah. Yep. See,
so
here's
now
this.
It's just,
Here's this goodie.
Finding the time to keep doing it, and you've got the right idea. Let me tell you something else. I don't know if what you're using to drop the water with, but if you set up a rig to drop the water from an eyedropper, and you can keep it in the same place every time. I used a deck screw, a tall deck screw, and I would drip the water, and then I would place the screw so that the drip of water was landing right on the tip of the screw, and I'd put the screw head down in the water so it'd stand up, you know, in the water. And what that would help me do is then I would go get to my camera and I would focus on the very tip of that screw, and I knew that when I took the screw away and I dripped the water again, my drop would be in perfect focus, and I wouldn't have to use autofocus or anything like that. It would be manual, and it would never change. So if you're using it, you know, making a drip rig or something like that, I ended up making my drip rig out of a little brass nozzle that I got at the hardware store, and I put some brass pieces together, and I put a little tube on it with a syringe to push the water through it, and essentially it allowed me to set up this thing that never moved. So once I got the focus part right, then it was just timing. It was just, let's just see if I can time it just right. And that's where you start to really have the fun, because the water starts making different shapes, and it starts doing, I had some that came out and looked like people hitting a volleyball. I mean, it was just
how fun.
Your brain just sees all these different things, you know, the pareidolia effect or whatever is, you know, that your brain does. But just keep doing it, man. Keep on it. I think it's a great photo to submit to show that you're trying to be creative. I
agree.
It's a good first step for sure.
Yeah, I like that he's diving in hard. I mean, when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, it's your first attempt. You're going to take the background, you're going to flip it around, you're going to try to get the water drop off of the main. I mean, he's doing a lot.
It is a lot. I want to mention that it is a lot to put on the plate at once. What I started with was with water. I wasn't happy with, like, it was water, and I was like, yeah, I can do it. And I'm like, yeah, I did it. But it wasn't really dynamic to me. So then I moved to putting a little bit of food color in milk.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And what that does is just a very little milk will make the water opaque, and then it starts catching the light differently, and then you start getting these amazing colors that you can start playing with in different food coloring and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's fun.
You got the right idea. I would tell you that it gets a little bit more messy. Lay some plastic down, but fill the water bowl up a little bit more so that you don't see the edge of the pan.
Yeah, make it like infinity.
Yeah, and that'll make it look like an infinity pool. Yep, that's exactly right.
I wanted to suggest too that I mean, he's starting. It's it's about light photography and stuff, and I think that you really the circles of confusion in the background could have been successful if it didn't have all the white in here. But one of the things that I think that you should play with first, instead of bouncing the light behind the water, is taking the light and instead of making the light bounce to come in, you have the light come to the sides first, because you've got so much going on. It'll be cleaner. Once you've got the concept of the light and how it's bouncing on the subject, then you can go a step further. So I think that bouncing behind the subject and bringing that light back is really difficult. So take those lights and the flashes and do the side first. Play with that.
Yeah, to me it looks like that he probably bounced it off the back to light up the photo. Right?
Yes,
so
I think so.
The image, so that he could get what he wanted there. And unfortunately, that right now, until you've had some experimentation with how that light's going to bounce, I'm probably going to tell you that your best effect for this is probably going to be up top and pointing down on the water itself with one flash and the other flash backlighting. Yep. And that's going to give you the two pieces of light that you need, and it's probably going to make the so I think what you need to achieve too is to get it the way that you want to is to not have the bokeh like Janice said, and that's happening with your flash. So here's the thing: if your flash is in front of the bowl, okay, and it's lighting that up, which I can see that it's obviously either next to you, maybe it's on your camera, I don't know. You're going to need a remote flash, and then move the photo. You got the photo back there, and then have the flash beyond your bowl, so that it's pushing on the wall and not on the inside of the bowl. And then you'll shoot your other flash sideways. Yeah. To get the ideally, I think when I was trying to do this, I shot with like 3 or 4 strobes by the time I was done, because it just, what you're trying to do, like Janice said, you're biting off a huge amount of stuff here. And I will tell you too, do some research online, do some searching, because I think you will be able to find a lot of tutorials. I know that Corey Ann over on Flickr, if you look up Corey Ann, you just look up that name, Corrie, and Ann, I think that's her name. If you look her up, she's got all sorts of tutorials on her website on how she got into being one of the top water drop photographers in the world.
Oh, that's awesome. Maybe I'll grab her link and put it in the show notes. That sounds really good for people.
Yeah, she makes like dancers and everything else. I mean, it's amazing how she controls the water and just does this crazy stuff. So she teaches, so you can learn from her.
That's great. And then does she use one of those mechanisms? Because most people do when they get
she uses, I think it's called a Phoenix system, but I'm not sure. I can find her. She's been a longtime friend. I think I've been friends with her on Flickr since Flickr started.
Oh really? Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, let me just see if I have her link here, and I'll share it with you so that you can share it with everyone else.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that I totally appreciate it. Let me see.
Anyways, keep up the good work, man, and keep going at it. We want to see more images like this.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, and I'm glad that I love having you here with me. Yay, because it's good to have 4 eyes. Kim says thank you for it. She says thank you and capitalize for the feedback. Absolutely. I appreciate it. No, you are most welcome. I got back to you, AD, because before we end the show, I just kind of wanted to know, like, what are you working on now? Do you have any projects? Are you teaching anything? I'm part of. I'm gonna cough real quick because this darn. Let me take it. I guess I need some more wine.
I'm going to send you that little link right there in your Skype chat just to confuse you, because I know whenever I get messages in Skype, it's always a pain to try to figure out where they are when I'm broadcasting. But if you want to see some crazy influence, that's Corey, and I called her Corey Ann, but it's Corey White. I think she used to have Corey Ann White, I think was her whole name. But so that's her. She has, like, it's an incredibly low amount of followers, only 5,600 followers on Flickr. But when you see her work, you'll just be like, wow. What?
No, it's good to give you inspiration too. That's the thing that I love to look at.
She does more than just the water stuff, just like the rest of us.
So, I want to share your website real quick.
Yeah, you asked me what I'm doing.
Oh, wow. Where did the Lightroom go? Hold on one second. Where are you? Oh, I'm really messing it up. That's Janice. Let me see. Share website. There you are, AD. Okay. You tell me what you're up to. I want to share as you're telling me what you're working on, or if you have any projects, but I want to share yourcreators.com on your Patreon. So this is a great place for you guys to check out AD and work with him. I work with him. He helps me tremendously, especially when it comes to the show. If it wasn't for AD, this show would not be here. There's so much technical and craziness going behind the scenes that you guys don't even know about. but he is so gracious. We have hangouts every month, and he helps me. And I just wanted to share this with everybody. But go ahead and tell me, like, what are you up to? So what's 2018 for you?
Well, so far, absolutely nothing. I've had a hard time getting the old engine started. The beginning of this year.
Well, you guys had a blizzard.
Yeah, well, yeah, the weather doesn't always help, but anybody can blame it on the weather. I think it's just coming off 2017. It was super busy. I did my first Photo Plus Expo with Skyloom and MacFun down in New York City, and we were doing the weekly podcast with them. And things have cooled down a little bit now, and had a little bit of time to take off. They're going through some changes and doing some big updates, and they've got some big things coming. So I'm sure it's going to get a lot busier for me if I decide to move forward with that. I still don't know what I'm doing there. But the Patreon is the big thing for me right now, Patreon and YouTube. I have a couple of channels that I'm pushing quite hard. People know I'm an avid video gamer. I have a video game channel that I promote that deals with ultra-wide video gaming, which is a format and a bunch of stuff that photographers really don't care about. And then I have the explorographer.com kind of tie-in with YouTube, where I do tutorials. I do my mentoring, as you know, and that all goes hand in hand with what we were talking about at the very beginning, which was the monetization pull from YouTube. And I'm really moving more towards, to be honest with you, I would not care about monetization with YouTube at all if I had more Patreon subscribers and people who are interested in that. Because Patreon, the way that I do my Patreon, it took me a while to figure it out, like what is Patreon, what's it all about. But essentially it's a website where you can come and subscribe for $1 a month to my channel, and then you can say, hey, AD, I want to learn about this. And you can make a post, and I will work on a tutorial, or I'll work on a live stream for you for $1 a month. And then you can take it farther than that. Janice is a full-time mentor student with me at the $35 level. We get together once a month and talk about her business, talk about the hurdles that she's facing right now and how do we get her by those. She brings me a list, and we go down the list. And if it, it's set up on the website for you get one meeting a month, but anybody who knows me knows if you need more time, we work it out. And I have other people that are there just for like their websites, like they just want to know more about how to get their SEO on their website going. I have people that are just lurkers who just want to support my work and are awesome and just say, no man, it's cool, I appreciate what you do, and here's $5 a month. And so I wouldn't care about monetization in YouTube if I met my goal on Patreon, because that would be, that's my day job pretty much. So it's called the Creators, and it's TOURS, because I didn't want anybody thinking we were creating worlds or responsible for any of that. But it is my belief that art makes the world, and creativity shapes tomorrow. I really think that the things that we do as creatives influences the world around us. I will never think that it doesn't. I will never feel like I'm defeated from that purpose. I know there are times right now where a lot of people feel that way. Keep creating, keep putting it out there, keep putting your message out there, and I think that's what shapes tomorrow. You look at people like Elon Musk and Richard Branson and all these guys who basically have been creators and have been dreamers, and they're changing the face of this planet. I look at Elon Musk, and he might be a weird dude, but that guy said, I can shoot off a rocket and then I can land that rocket on a little platform and reuse it again, and everybody's like, you're a nutcase. And then you go on YouTube and you watch it happen, and it makes me stop breathing. I watch it, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing it.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's stuff that the Jetsons, that's stuff that we were promised that never happened, but he's doing it. And I just think that, just try to influence others and be creative. I think that's the thing. Be positive and be infectious. And that's what the Creators is all about. It's a self-run community where If you guys don't suggest videos and things for me to do, nothing's going to get done, because I don't just want to make content that, doesn't mean something to somebody. So that's why I want people to be vocal and say, hey man, I need to know more about this, or I want to learn about this, and I'll get on it. That's my job. So that's my focus really, is just to really boost Patreon and get that really rolling hard this year. Last year I put some time into it, and then I took time off for the Mac Fun, Skyloom stuff. This year I really want to just push really hard on making that a big community. We got a good community right now. I think there's 25 people in there or so. I'd like to see that triple or quadruple and really get, more people too. Collaborative videos and all sorts of stuff. We'll grow YouTube channels together or whatever. That's what it's all about. A community of, it's like the Arcanum. It's that safe community where we can ask a brother or sister for comments on our work and not be like all, bent over if they say it's not great. And we say, okay, well, let's talk about why it isn't great, or how can I make it better, instead of being like, oh, he always says he doesn't like my work. And we don't have that attitude. In fact, anybody who has an attitude like that, I go right after them hard and say, look, this is not why you're here. If you can't turn that around, this is not the community for you. So,
exactly. It's not Facebook for all the likes and all the pluses. This is about seriousness and not trying to be, it's about really pushing you inside.
Yeah, I like to call Facebook narcissistic book, because I think that it's great. It's a trap. I mean, it's nice to get 1,000 likes, but at the end of the day, 1,000 likes doesn't mean crap. I can go buy 1,000 likes and have 1,000 likes. They're still not going to mean anything, and you don't learn from them. I mean, I get people who are like, well, 1,000 people liked it.
So are they buying it? I'm a businesswoman, so.
Right. Well, there's always that part, but the creative likes just means that people like, on Facebook, a lot of times people will just like things just because they're your friend. Whether they really like it or not, you don't really know what that feedback is. So having a private community where you can safely ask for feedback and not feel stupid, like, that someone's going to ask a question. And of course you're gonna feel, I can tell everybody in the world not to feel stupid when they ask a question, but we're still always going to say to ourselves, oh, I feel stupid in this question. But I try to make everybody fully aware that that's what I'm there for, is the only stupid question is one you don't ask, because how are you going to learn, right? And the only mistake that you make is not making a mistake, because that's, or being afraid of making a mistake, because that's how I've learned my whole life. I run into the wall and I go, oh yeah, that's a wall. I'm supposed to go around that. And so that's, that's how you learn. And I think a lot of us were brought up, and they're still brought up to, don't do that, don't do this, that's a mistake, you should never. Well, to a certain extent, that's true. You shouldn't go out and murder somebody. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But making mistakes in art and creativity is daily business. So.
It's like, you gotta. That's. I mean, I share my bad stuff, with behind the scenes, and that's how I push, and I know that's how you push, but the stuff that goes out onto the internet is not, I'm not going to share everything that's like crappy, but you have to have that crappiness to push in order to, I mean, when I first started stacking, it was horrible. I was like, what the hell? But then I can relate to now. That's why I think what's fun about you and I is that we can relate to people that are trying.
So I'm a late starter to all of, I mean, I was on the I was doing internet stuff in 1982 when it was still a dial-up modem and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, as far as like, the art part of it, I started 9 years ago. I started with a camera. I shot, years before that, but nothing like, I didn't say that I was going to be a photographer. I was going to work on my photography as a creative outlet. It was just a thing. It was just that's to capture the moment, right? And so if I would have, when I was a kid or younger, had the ability to get with somebody who knew what they were doing, and they were willing to like answer all my questions instead of, you know, making me do exercises to learn things or that sort of things, or doing both of those things together. And I think my most successful teachers, I didn't do well as far as with a lot of teachers in school, but there were certain teachers who got me, and those teachers were the ones I excelled with, and the ones that got me through, and a lot of them were creatives. And I think that, you know, now we have the internet and we have this ability to hook up with people like yourself and Trey Radcliffe and all these wonderful people who are willing to reach their hand out and say, it's okay to make mistakes, and come, let's work on this together. Let's support each other, embrace that and run with it. Because man, if I would have had that, you know, 20 years ago, I can't imagine what I'd be doing right now.
Yeah, seriously, it's a great time. It really is. And people like, it is a great time. And I know photographers get frustrated because it is a time where there is so much out there, but that's what you are going to do, is push yourself and be different and just keep trying and have fun. And it
can't win if you don't play.
Exactly. Perfect. That's perfect. Well, with that, I mean, I have to thank you so much again, AD, for joining me. It's just an honor to have you here. I want to let everybody know that the next show will be February 1st. And it is at 6 p.m., not 1 o'clock. And I will have Mike Moats on so once a month is what I have 2 shows a month. So I have you, and then Mike will be the next month, and then I will be by myself. And then I have Don Kamachi? How do you, Don's going to kill me because we're friends.
I'm going to help you right here, ready?
Kamarechka. I will practice that, Don. But Don and I are friends, so he'll be the following month. And I'm trying to get Sherry back on again. So if
I love having Don on the show, because essentially you're going to say, "Hi, I'm Janice, and this is Don," and then you can go take a walk. Don will run your whole show.
Yeah, but you know me, man. It's just like I'm like talking to him too. That's hilarious. So, anyways, yeah, that's my 2018 goal. So you have your goals. My 2018 goals is to try to have at least one guest a month, not every single show. And it is such, like I say, it really, truly, from my heart, is a pleasure to have you as my first guest. So this is very important for me. And all of you guys, if you like this, give it a thumbs up, share it to people. I don't know of any macro show that's macro, close up, and micro. That's what we do here. So it would be nice to get this out. It is brand new. We're on show 13. Woohoo! But it's a blast. I'm having such a great time, and thank you, AD, for helping me with that. I'm going to get to know us, and then AD and I will stay for just a couple seconds, and then just in case you guys have questions, ask while I'm sharing the get to know what I do, and then we will end up heading out. So thanks, AD. I really appreciate it. And again, if you guys have questions, ask them in the chat right now, because we got about 30 seconds and we will be out. All right. Bye, everyone. To get to know us in more detail, check out sullivanjphotography.com. And while you're at it, hold on one second. Sign up for challenges, deep dive photography information, and free textures by just filling out your email. I know, I'm like, see, everybody can hear me behind the scenes. I gotta learn how to do
If you'd like to even dive deeper into your photography and really elevate it, check out membership.sullivanjphotography.com. This is a membership that's only $29 a month, and we give you everything that's needed to really push your macro and landscape photography. Hope to see you there.
Okay, they shouldn't be able to hear us now for sure, because the mic, I never know what's in or out. It's let's see. Oh, Catherine says she enjoyed the show. Yeah, so you know, but I have to go to Restream because they said that I would be able to see all 3. Now Twitch, I understand that I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and stop the streaming because pretty much I don't see anything else going. So let me stop it.